Hi everybody, welcome. I'm Dorothy. I'm a professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com, and there you can check out my forecasts, find out where I am, contact me for your own private sessions, and much, much more. Today I want to talk to you who are Scorpio or have Scorpio rising for the month of November. So the astrological energy of that month for you goes like this. So I want to start with November 4th and 5th. This is the build up to the full moon. That means the moon is in a heightened energy state, and our emotions are higher. And when the moon is in the sign of Aries, they are definitely at a height and a peak, because we feel it's very important that everybody knows how we feel. And this is what goes on every once a month when the moon goes through the sign of Aries. We can feel just very dramatic, and it depends on where that is in your own personal chart as to how dramatic it is. You know, it just will vary from person to person and chart to chart. But overall, that moon in Aries, we want you to know how you feel, how I feel. I want you to know how I feel, and I'm going to tell you. And that is some of the stuff that goes on when the moon is in the sign of Aries and we're thinking things through. But the energy of that is very, very strong. It's quick hitting. It's only 2 days. But what's going to go on there is there's going to be a little bit of stress. First off, it's going to make a conjunction to Uranus in those 2 days. And when it does that, I mean, then we'll never be able to button our lip if we have something emotional to say. If we're feeling emotional about something, we're not holding back. It's also making a square to Mars, and then it'll make a square to Pluto in that time period. And when it squares Mars, the moon square Mars, that's stress, that's anger, there's obstacles to really feeling like we're being heard. And with Pluto there, we feel like we have absolutely no power and control over anything. So we might act out. And if it's not us, depending on how, what your state of centeredness is, but a lot of people are going to act out and act like little 2-year-olds pitching a fit. Yes, they are. The thing is, this energy is just building and building to the full moon. So we're going to have an interesting full moon period this month. Now the full moon on the 6th is at 14 degrees of Taurus. So early in the morning or late on the 5th, depends on where you live, the moon will move into the sign of Taurus, and that will help ground things down and settle things down a little bit. But you know, once the hornet's nest is kicked and everybody's flying around all pissed off, it's going to be hard to calm things down. It's going to take a little while to calm things down. Excuse my French. And I know that's not French. The full moon in Taurus. Taurus is a good place for the moon. The moon loves to be in the sign of Taurus. So we will be able to calm things down. But what it will stir up, all that Aries energy will stir up is like what we truly value. Because once the moon is full in the sign of Taurus, it's fixed earth. What do I value? What do I love? How do I earn my money using my skills and talents? It's not a job. It's like, what do I love to do? It's sensual pleasures. It's all of these different things. So when the moon is full in that sign, all of these emotions get heightened. Now for you, Scorpio, it is in your 7th house of partnerships. How apropos. That is a wonderful place for it. It just means that you have got a partnership thing going on that needs to get worked out. Pretty much. So work it and see what it looks like for you. See how that works for you. So all of this stuff can be, it can be a spousal partnership or a business partnership. Any partnerships, all right? Keep an eye on that. Definitely practice your own type of harmony and internal, clarity and stability. Because this will be it's just an active full moon just because of Aries right before it. It's just going to kick some things off. So we'll have a lot to work on. But it can just take a few minutes, and that a lot to work on can be done. Because the full moon is all about releasing and letting go. But sometimes we don't know what it is we need to let go of until it shows up as something painful or as something that's annoying. It doesn't have to be bad. Just annoying is okay too. So what's giving you the most trouble in that sign of Taurus, focus in on it, let it go. Then I want to move on the 11th. No, not the 11th, because everything's the 11th, because I have 11 dates here. 11/8, November 8th. The Mercury moves back into the sign of Scorpio. It was there back in October before it went retrograde. It went retrograde at 2 degrees. It's now at 0 degrees of Scorpio on the 8th. That's going to trigger the eclipse from October 23rd. That means between October 23rd and November 8th, and that might creep into the next couple of days as well, something is coming up that came up during the eclipse time and has been growing and growing since. Only you know what that is. I can't read into everybody's charts, but only you know what that is. Depends on what else that eclipse triggered in your chart. So if you didn't get an eclipse session, you're more than welcome to have one, and we'll apply it to what goes on this month for you. So just let me know. So with that, that Mercury energy wants us to communicate something. We need to communicate something. It was very, very important. I remember saying back in October when Mercury was going retrograde, it's like this is a critical day. These are critical points when these planets are stationary, when there's eclipses. Those points end up being very sensitive points in the zodiac for a while. So this 0 degrees of Scorpio, I'm going to talk about it on and off probably for the next few months just because it's very important. So go back, go back and listen to the Scorpio forecast for the eclipse on October 23rd if you need to. I'll give you more information. Then I want to go to next November 10th and 11th, in that time frame, and over those 2 days, Mars and Pluto are actually in an exact conjunction at that point. And so what we get is energy that is all about, it's controlled action. So when we want to really make a big difference and a very deep difference, because Pluto and Mars both are rulers of Scorpio. And even though right now they are both currently in Capricorn, Scorpio energy is still very strong because the sun is there, the eclipse was there. So that means the things that we're working through and the things that we're releasing and letting go are really helping us to find out what our true foundation is. Because everything's different now, over this whole year. There's so much has shifted and changed this last year that we need this Mars-Pluto connection like this. And we need Pluto, actually, and even Saturn and Scorpio, and Pluto and Capricorn. We need these things so we can really clearly see what is the truth. It's our truth. It's different for everybody, but what our truth is. And when these two planets are connected like they are, they really do want us to dig in deep and find out what's going on. Where this happens in your astrology chart is important too. And I can't tell you that. It's specific to each chart. All right? But I'm going to move on to the next thing, okay? So what we got next is a little bit of drama shows up right after that conjunction of Mars and Pluto, and that's the moon in Leo. The moon in Leo is dramatic. It's very different than the moon in Aries. The moon in Aries just says, this is how I feel, and I'm telling you. The moon in Leo is just going to be dramatic and act out. They're going to be dramatic. They're going to take a toenail, a hangnail, and just act like they've got a broken foot. I know. I'm going to hear it from all those people who have moon in Leo, aren't I? You can be dramatic. Admit it. Use it. Use it in acting. Use it in theater. Get out there and speak to people about what you're passionate about. That's what we need to do with that. Not act out and act like, it's the end of the world and it's something very minor. That's the funny part about what that moon in Leo is all about. And that moon in Leo makes a square to all the Scorpio stuff I've been talking about and all the Taurus stuff we've been talking about. So that is a trigger again, and they're all squares, and the squares are all obstacles. So if you're not able to move through your emotions easily in that time period, or if somebody else isn't, then they're going to feel like they have no option but to cause some trouble or to push buttons and cause stress. The universe says if we don't do what we need, we get this 2x4 upside our head. Well, sometimes it's somebody else around us. It usually is. That's what our relationships are all about. Moving us, accelerating us forward. Hopefully not backwards, right? All right. Next is November 22nd, 11/22. Yes, it is 11/22. 2 master numbers in a row. That's the new moon at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. That's so much fun. The moon's barely in Sag when it's new. So that means it's been in Scorpio for the last 2 days through that eclipse point, Yep. Now it's in Sagittarius, 0 degrees, very couple of minutes, hardly in there, hasn't even barely taken 2 breaths, and it's a new moon. Well, that's the whole thing about birth, right? As soon as we're born, we start taking our breaths. But it's at the very beginning, and when things are at the very beginning, first off, it's in your 2nd house, house number 2 for you, Scorpio. And that is, again, we're looking back at what I value. What I value. You know, you already heard me say that because the full moon in Taurus, Taurus rules the 2nd house. This new moon for you, Scorpio, is in your 2nd house. This is very good. This is important. So there's a financial theme going on here for you in some ways, okay? That financial theme is like you get to focus in on what you want to do that's fun, that you love to do. Set yourself some goals in that relationship. I easily want to do what? What do you love to do? Find out what you love to do, or do what you love to do, and then you can actually even earn money at it and make it more than just a hobby. This is a fabulous opportunity for you, Scorpio, with this new moon in your 2nd house. You're really able to define what it is you love. Because a lot of people just like, well, what's my life path? Your life path is to do what you love. Everybody's life path is to do what they love. To do what they're drawn to do, not what they hate to do. If you choose to do that, the universe always supports us. It really does. I know. Let's believe that, huh? It is true. All right. Next, we have on November 25th, we have some pretty simple aspects on that day, but I just want to touch on it anyways. And that is Mercury conjunct Saturn, and that is in the sign of Scorpio. There's Scorpio again. So really, if you need to write something out or need to get something out or have been planning something for a while, then get it out, do it, write it, make it happen. Mercury is our communication in the sign of Scorpio. It's just digging in deep. Hasn't been there for a year, so it's digging in deep, and it's wanting us to investigate everything that we need to investigate so we feel comfortable and secure with what we're doing. That's the Saturn, and that's the Mercury in Scorpio. So go for that. And finally, on November 27th, that's Thanksgiving here in the United States. The moon is in the sign of Aquarius. That means we're going to have some quirky people coming to dinner, okay? Probably family. Now, if you have somebody who holds a grudge, they might show up too, because that Mercury, that moon in Aquarius, man, if they get something stuck in their head that they feel they've been wronged or something isn't right, it could stick in there for 20 years, and they're still going to bring it up like it was yesterday. I know, that happens. It happens. Whatever. Just let it go. Let them do whatever they need to do. Don't let it bother you. But another positive way to go with this is to do something different and unique. Something clever. Something fun. Honor those who aren't here with you anymore. And do something very, very, very different. Whatever that means to you. You know, I know Italian families. You guys all have all kinds of great yummy pastas. You know, the folks from the British Isles, you know, all of us from that area, Irish, English people, I mean, I don't know, corned beef, turkey and gravy. That's, you know, do something that you're not accustomed to doing. Throw a little wrench into the works on that day. Be independent, be unique, be different, and set up a new tradition of some kind. That's what I'm recommending every single sign do. Get something new going. All right. I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Come find me on Facebook, Dorothy Morgan Astrologer. And I will be here next time. Thank you very much. Blessed be. Namaste. Namaste.